So it seems like every week on the forum or a Facebook page, I see someone ask, why should I get a 23 to 25 over a 22 and back? And so I wanted to kind of go through this truck and give a history lesson from 17 and up, which has been pretty much the same body style. You know, they've had little changes with the headlights, the grill, things like that. But I bought a 17, a 20, and a 24. Now, on the 17s, when you bought them, they had everything on them. So Ford is known for giving you everything on the first year remodel. And on the 17s, they had the 6-speed with the Power Stroke in it. And that was a phenomenal truck and a great change-up with the aluminum body from the 16s and back. You got a lot more horsepower and torque, and you was getting a full aluminum body so they can put more in the frame and lighten the truck with the aluminum. Now, on the 17s, you got everything that pretty much a Limited got. So when you would open your door, like mine light up here, you got that in the 17s, and then you could change the colors of all this. So you would get color changing lights in the interior. You can't see them during the day, but you can adjust the brightness. There's all kinds of little lights in the floorboard, under the seats, in the bezels here. All this lights up. Now, in 18, they come out with the Superduty Limited model. So you had the Platinum, and then you had the Limited, and the King Ranch was below the Platinum. Now, on all those models, you got LED headlights. So when you would get a King Ranch, you would get a Platinum or Limited, you would get LED headlights. So what they've done is in 19 or 18, they, like I said, they got the Limited. So they took away the ambient light and all the little fancy little things and made it step up to the Limited model, and you got nicer seats. Now, on the 17 through 19, you had a 6-speed transmission. Now, here is one of the reasons that I would recommend going. Now, all of my conclusion is going to be for a non-deleted. You're just going to buy the truck and you're going to drive it as is. You might swap the suspension, you might do anything, but you're not deleting your truck and you're not doing anything different than what is done to it now. So when you're doing that, these trucks are going to have the stock power level. So every year, these trucks have gotten better fuel mileage and have gotten more power and torque. So 17 to 19 had the 6-speed transmission. One of the reasons that I see every week on the forum them ask this question is because they're trying to choose the best Ford Power Stroke in the aluminum body, and I'm sure they're trying to save money, so they're like, can I get a 17 to 19 and be just as happy? So with the 6-speed, your fuel mileage is nowhere near as good as the 10-speed. Your shifts are not as smooth when towing and other things. Now, like I said, that's for a stock truck. The 10-speed was a game changer for the Power Stroke, and it is absolutely a better truck. The 6-speed's a great truck, but the shift points and everything on the 10-speed are just so much better all around, especially when you're towing for fuel miles and things like that. Now, I have seen people say when they delete them that the trucks are better in the 6-speed for holding power. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but, you know, a lot of people on the forums are saying that, so I can't imagine that all the people on there are saying that and, you know, don't know what they're talking about, but maybe they do. One of you can probably correct me, but I see that all the time on there. But if you're buying a factory truck, the 6-speed to me is less than the 10-speed. I would much prefer have a 10-speed truck, and you get that from a 2020 and above. Another thing, when you went to the 2020 trucks, like I said, you got the 10-speed, and you had a single motor over all of them. So from 17 to 22, you had a regular standard output Power Stroke that come in every one of them. So on the 23, 24, you have the option to get the high output, which is a better fuel mileage, higher torque than any of the other ones. So on 2020 to 21, you had an 8-inch screen in the dash. So you had an 8-inch screen, where 22 and above, up to 25, you have the 12-inch screen in the higher end models. So on the 21 and back, you're not going to have the really big screen in the trucks. Now, I prefer that, and that's one of the reasons that I would buy 22 and above trucks if I was looking at getting that. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of bullet points for this that show you from the past to the future. So on the 22s or the 21 to the 22 trucks, like I said, you on your King Ranch, your Platinum, and your Limited, you had LED headlights. Now, once we get through all that and we get up to the 24 or the 23, the reason that I would choose a 23 up to a 25, and if I was choosing any of those, I would go with a 24. The 24, in 23, the only difference that you're going to get is you had headrest speakers in your headrest up here. So when you bought a 23, you got the headrest speakers in the headrest, and they did look really cool. And then you got the, there was like one other thing. I can't remember what it was, something little. But on 24, I think 23 and 24, maybe 23 had it. But on 24, I know for sure they deleted the ability to manually turn your hub inside here to lock and unlock. Now they've brought that back in 25. And so if you got a 24 and you didn't get a trimmer, then your hub was not manual. So I wanted to go through the reasons that I would buy a 23 and 24 truck and 25 over previously. One would be the high output. So you're going to get better fuel mileage and you're going to have the most power out of the factory of any truck. It's better towing, better fuel mileage, and better power delivery than any truck on the market today. So it's faster, stronger towing than the new 8-speed Cummins. It's, just an all-around, it's the best truck that you can get on the market right now. And the high output is the biggest, baddest motor, period. If you're tuning your trucks and you're doing things, all of that stuff is going to throw everything I'm saying as far as the power out the water, because you can spend as much money and as much time as you want on these trucks and get them to any power level that you please. Now, like I said, the high output is only available in the 23 to 25, and I know a lot of people you're like, well, duh. But I literally see people on the forums saying, hey, I'm going to look at a 17 truck or a 20 truck, and the dealer told me it had a high output. I know that sounds crazy to some of us, but I'm telling you right now that there's so many people that do not know that. Now, the other thing would be the bed power. So on 23 through 25, you're getting a bed power platform in the bed of your truck, which is this right here. And with that, you're going to be able to run, just like a house, up to 2.0 kilowatts max. So you can run almost anything that is for construction site and things of that nature. And it's just one of those things that you can't get from 23 and back. Now, the one thing that I'll say, the reason I would avoid a 23 truck, because almost 50% of them, I would say 80% of them, if you got below a limited truck, your massaging seats will be missing. So when you're looking at these 23 trucks and this Power Stroke, if it does not have this button in the middle of here, your massaging feature is missing in the truck. And if you don't think that'll hurt your resale value, it will for sure. And there was a couple of other modules and things like that that they would pull from the 23 trucks to go in the limiteds that you could only get on the limited. So if you buy a 23 truck, even though you might think it's going to have all the features because you got a platinum, you may want to check into the features that are missing on the truck, because I've seen almost every one of them I've seen for sale are missing half of the options that you couldn't get, that you wanted. Another thing on the 24, so the only thing that they took away in the 24 was the speakers and the headrest, like I said. So on the 24s, none of the options were missing on any of the trucks. So you can buy a 24 and it's the most optioned for sure truck that you can get and not worry about missing features. Another thing is over-the-air updates and this big screen. Like I said, it's a little bit different from 22 and up. So 22 had the big screen, but the 23 and above have a little bit better module and stuff in the screen. So it's a better system and it gets over-the-air updates. So your complete truck, the whole truck, it can update anything that has to do with your truck, PCM, all that stuff, straight from over the air. You don't have to go in and have it done. If they come out with an update, I get updates all the time on this truck, and they will literally just come to it, and you'll get a notification that your truck has updated. Now, on the 23 and 24, you had this automated washer that will come out after you push your windshield wipers like 2 or 3 times. This will come out and spray your front camera here. On the 25s, they've removed that on a lot of the trucks, maybe all of them from what I've seen, and that's not even an option, I don't think. Another thing is going to be your tailgate camera. So if you're looking at 23 to 25, they've removed in the 25s this camera when you're backing up. And that is one of the handiest features that is on these trucks. And I have no clue why they've removed that. But what they do is they give you all the features. So when they redesign this truck again, the first year that it comes out, they'll give you every one of these features. And then the next year, they'll slowly trickle them back. And they do like a 3 or 4 year span where they do that. It's been 3 years every time so far. So like 17, 18, 19 would have the least amount of features from the 17, and then 20 to 22, besides the screen update, they would slowly start trickling back features. Now on the 23 to 25, you do not get LED headlights that are projectors that follow your steering wheel and stuff in a King Ranch and below. In a King Ranch and below, you get LEDs, but they are not projector style that follow your screen. Now there's some, I like these, and they're bright, but they're not perfect. They've got these little X patterns in them, and I've got a video on that showing all the flaws of these trucks. But it's one of those things that I still like the look of this 100 times better than the LED reflector in there. Another thing on your tailgate, so for 23 through 25, your tailgate is automated. So you can lower it and raise it. You could always lower it from in the truck, but now you can just lift it up a little bit or touch it and it'll automatically shut. So you're getting that in the 23 and above. That to me is super handy. I know everybody's like, oh man, I ain't shut my own tailgate. But if you've got your hands full or anything like that and you just want to shut your tailgate, a lot of times I take my foot and kick it and it just goes up, and so I don't have to worry about it. But that is a handy feature to have. Now, another reason that I would choose 23 and to 25 is the lane keeping in this truck. So your 17, or actually your 20, your 17 and 19, I don't even know if they had alert. I don't think they had alert. I can't remember now. But I know the 20 to 22 had the alert. So it wouldn't steer you back and keep you in the lane and keep you centered. It would vibrate the steering wheel and kind of jerk it a little bit, but it wouldn't steer for you the entire time. These trucks here have self-steering. So when you get in here, you can set the cruise and set the adaptive, and it'll literally stay in the lane, and all you got to do is touch the steering wheel every now and then. It'll even stop and go in traffic and things like that, which is super, super handy. and it's just really nice to have. Also, the 17 to 22, your truck will only run, I think it's 95 or 97. These trucks, 23 to 25, will run 100 mile per hour. And if you put 37s on them and you don't correct your steering, your speed, and your, update all that, then it's about 104 to 105 that it'll let the truck go. And these trucks get to 100 crazy quick. Like, I don't know how many times I've been going wide open, just like on the freeway, and my truck's just like stalled at 100, and I'm like, man, I didn't realize I was running that fast. These trucks are so smooth and so quiet in the cab, and that's another thing. So the 17 to 22s are not as quiet in the cab. Now, they're quiet, don't get me wrong, but the 23 to 25 has a quieter cab, and when you walk up to the 23 or 24, like mine right now, I've got my keys in my pocket. If the truck was not unlocked, so if I had the truck locked so let's see if it does it. So if I hit lock, I'm not sure how to make it do it exactly, but I know every time I've had mine in the pocket, like when I've got it in there and I start to walk up to it, I think you got to have it unlocked and then walk up to it, but it may do it here. But I know that the lights, and all right, so there you go. So if you've got your keys in your pocket, like I had it locked right there, it'll automatically unlock. It'll automatically put your steps out, and your running lights will come on automatically, even if you don't hit unlock. On the 23s and back, you have to hit unlock for that to happen, and even if it unlocks, your steps don't come out until you open the door. So that's one of the handy features. You don't have to wait on the step. It automatically deploys whenever you walk up to it with your key fob in your pocket. The other thing is like I said, the lane keeping and the 100 mile per hour. The other thing that is the reason that I would go with the 23 and above is the suspension. So even if you do not get a trimmer, so on the 2017 to 19, the radius arm here was not curved. You can't really see it in video, but see how that's curved? Real nooked there going up. See how one side's straight and the other side's curved? This radius arm going down through here. And then your sway bar in the front is curved, kind of like when you'd get a Carly. See that there? It's got a nook in it. That is so you can put bigger tires on these trucks. So on the 17 to 19, if you're planning on getting one of these trucks and putting 37s on it, or even 35s, and you put a leveling kit, a lot of the 1250 tires will rub your sway bar and your radius arm, forcing you to have to buy an aftermarket one. And then on the 20 to 22s, they didn't have the sway bar where it was nooked like that one, and it would rub your sway bar. So there's a lot of advantages depending on how you're going to outfit your truck and what you're going to do that you get with a 23 through 25. Now, the 25 would be my least pick. I do like that on the 25. So every year before 25, you could not get a limited truck in the trimmer model. So what they've done on the 25 model is they took away the limited and they give you a Platinum Plus model. So what that is you can make a Platinum Plus and then add a trimmer, and you get all the features of a limited in a truck that you can put the trimmer package on straight from the factory. And if you guys are looking to get these, I'll put a link in the bio, but you can see they glow. Those no longer come from the factory. And so if you want to get some of those and put them in your truck, I can put a link for that. And like I said, a lot of this stuff to me would just be you know, if money isn't the option, like if you're looking to save a bunch of money, then obviously 23 to 25 is going to be more expensive. But if it's just a few $1,000s difference between the ones you're looking at, and money's not really the option, you get a ton better features with the 23 and above. It's just a way better polished, rounded truck that comes from the factory. And I much prefer, I've had a 17, I had a 20, and I had my 20 while I had this at the same time for months. And I just absolutely love this truck. I mean, the bed power and all the stuff that's in it is just super handy. So keep all those in mind when you're looking at a truck. And like I said, there's a lot of things that I probably missed that are little that I've just forgotten. But the sound system is the best in this over the previous years. If you're looking at so mine has the vinyl flooring. So if you're looking at the vinyl flooring, the 17 to 19 had the best vinyl flooring. This is thinner, but I mean, I can't really see there's nothing that's bothered me about it, and it's not buckled up or anything like that. But there's just a lot of things that have been redone on this that are way nicer, like your dash and your buttons and all the things that you can do. You get a lot more massage settings in the 23 to 25. But like I said, almost every massaging seat was taken out in 23 and didn't come back till 24. So watch if you're wanting to get that in comparison to the previous ones. Other than that, like I said, you guys let me know in the comments what I've forgotten. There's a lot of things that they can improve on, but there's a lot of things that they have really, really done on these trucks, and they get better every year in my eyes. You guys let me know what you think.